Good morning. I am Miss Sherry from Del Sal Santiago Zubel School. I'll be talking about active student engagement using differentiated activities. So our objectives for today, number 1, identify ways of differentiation. Number 2, name simple experiments that can be done at home. And number 3, hands-on using the Seesaw app. So let's begin. Welcome! Are you excited for a fun and learning session today? Kindly type in your answer in the chat box. Alright, thank you for your responses. If we ask this question to our students, we would probably get a yes as an answer. But what is really happening in our classroom? What happens when the teacher speaks? So according to studies, 25% are actively disconnected. 25% are passively disconnected. 20% are trying to follow the lesson but get it partially. 15% are paying attention. 10% are actively participating, and 5% already knows what you're talking about. So then engagement comes in. So what is engagement? According to the Glossary of Educational Reform, engagement means the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that students show when they are learning and being taught. Then how do we boost engagement? So number 1, you have to get their attention. Number 2, know their learning styles. And number 3, differentiate activities. So number 1, how can we get their attention? So I have here a strategy. We call this strategic pauses. So let's try this one. So how are you feeling today? Is it number 1, you are in a good space and you can focus? Number 2, something's bothering you, but you can still focus? Or number 3, you can't manage your emotions right now? Kindly type in your answer in the chat box. Thank you for your responses. So if my students answer number 1, I acknowledge them. So I say, very good. Everybody's in a good focus or good space today. And for those who answered number 2, I assure them that they will feel better at the end of the session. And for those who answered number 3, I let them stay behind after the session and talk to them. So this would be a good interaction, or this would be interactive for your students. Now, number 2, know their learning styles. So what are the different learning styles of our students? Some students would be verbal. Some students would be physical. Some students would be logical. Some students would be social learners, solitary learners, visual learners, and oral. So when your students are oral learners, they like listening. Okay, they learn best when they listen, so they like listening to your lectures. Some students are verbal. These students like to talk so much in your class. They love role-playing and writing. Some are physical. They prefer moving. They use their hands and body to learn. Some are visual. They prefer using pictures. They like pictures. They like looking at images. And they love to observe and watch what you're doing. Some are logical learners. They are the good problem solvers in your class. Some are social learners. Okay, they prefer group activities, and some are solitary learners. They prefer to work independently. So here is an infographic on how you can identify the learning styles of your student. So number 3, if you already know the learning styles, now you can already differentiate the activities for your students. So what do you mean by differentiation? Differentiation means tailoring your teaching to meet the individual needs of a learner. So there are different ways to differentiate. So you can differentiate through presentation, process, and the product. So what do you mean by presentation? How is it taught? So you can vary the instruction on how you are going to teach your lesson. So it could be a whole group instruction, or it could be a small group instruction. You can also vary the content of your presentation according to the readiness, interest, and learning style of your student. Okay, so now let's go to the process. Process means how it is done by the students. So you can provide learning stations, choice opportunities, and even paper and pencil tests, which you can vary different activities. So students get to choose their own pathway on how they will complete their learning. So here is my sample work. Okay, this is an activity on animal habitats. I have provided 3 activities for them. Activity 1, Activity 2, and Activity 3. So for Activity 1, they will draw their answers. For Activity 2, okay, they will watch a video about animals. Okay, the good thing about this is they get to choose on how they will present their or answer the question. So they can type in their answer or they can record their voice to answer the question. And for Activity 3, you have to drag and drop the pictures. Okay, so we have varied activities here to cater for the visual, oral, and kinesthetic learners. Okay, so here is an activity where where students get to choose. They have options to choose from. So for the first activity, option 1, they will watch the story about animal habitats. And for option 2, they will listen or sing a song about animal habitats. Okay, so we can also vary the product. So how are they going to demonstrate what they know? So we can make use of simple experiments using the household materials. So here is my sample experiment that they did at home. This is all about the changes in matter. I asked my students to make ice popsicles. So they vary in their presentation of their work. One student opted to choose to take pictures of his work, and one student chose to take a video of himself doing the procedure on how to make ice popsicles. This is very fun for your students. My students get to enjoy this. Okay? Also, another nice activity is the popcorn senses, where students describe popcorn using their 5 senses. So I have here a sample work. So students will get to choose from how are they going to present their work. Some typed in their answers. Those who are good with spelling and words, they can type in their answers. And another one, instead of typing, he took a video of himself explaining the different or describing the popcorn using his 5 senses. So you just need to provide guide questions for your students. It says here, what's the color? How does it feel? Does it smell good or bad? Does it make a loud or soft sound? How does it taste? So let's proceed to the next one, the scavenger hunt. This will cater to your kinesthetic learners. So they get to move around their house and take pictures of the different objects. Okay, so here just provide them guide words on how they will look for objects. So here, something soft, something green, something that smells good, something sweet, something that produces a loud sound. Students enjoy these kinds of activities. Okay, so for the kinds of forest experiment, you can use household materials such as dried leaves, scratch papers, and make paper airplanes out of it, even twigs, plastic spoon, even magnets. If you don't have this kind of magnet, you can use ref magnets for this experiment. Also paper clips and popsicle sticks. So I used this in my face-to-face and in my classroom setup last year. So they were able to manipulate all the materials. This is all about magnetism and gravity. So they get to explore and manipulate. So just provide them worksheets where they can answer. So my question here is, how did the magnet move it? So they just need to encircle yes or no after manipulating the items in the basket. So you can also provide art activities for your students. Students love this. So you just post a question and they can answer. Instead of writing their answers, they can draw their answers. So some kids have different way of answering. Some answered it like this, and some provided examples of animals in each picture. Okay, so here is another good activity where students get to choose. For option one, they would take pictures of their sense organ to fill in the five senses book. And option two, they get to draw. Okay, instead of taking pictures, they will draw. Okay, so here is the final output of my students. And also, aside from that, okay, the students can also take videos of themselves to show what they learned. So here is our performance task. It says here, how can you have a healthy body? The student answered it by demonstrating the things that they do to make their bodies healthy, or to have a healthy body. Right? So how can we do this? Because we have this Seesaw app. So what is the Seesaw app for? So it is a digital portfolio that collects students' digital and physical work in one place. Everything here is organized. You can make assessments. You can do conferences easier. Okay? It has built-in tools that make it easy for the students to capture their learning, reflect, and develop new skills. And this is a good way to communicate to parents because it has a parent communication tool. Okay? So it builds a strong home and school community. So here is the interface. Okay, these are the tools that your students and the teacher could also manipulate on. So the camera, the drawing tool, the video, the links, and the note. Even you can upload files in your platform or your workspace. All right, so let's take a look at what can we do with Seesaw. Okay, just like what I told you, you can post students' work, assign activity, or even send announcement. So let's try posting a student work. Okay, you can have a different option, the camera, the drawing tool, the video, the links. You can even send the note or upload the file. Let's try the drawing tool. Here, you can type something. Okay, so let's try, what is the weather for today? Okay, so you can resize, you can even move it around as to where you want to put it. Okay, you can even change the color of the text. Okay, so you can also insert shapes and backgrounds to your work. So there are different colors of the backgrounds to choose from. Okay, if your student will answer this, they can use the drawing tools here. So they have options to choose from. So let's answer this. What's the weather for today? For example, it's a sunny day. Students can draw their answers using the drawing tools. And if they opt to choose to type their answers, they can do so. Right? You can also change the color of the text. Okay, if you want to add another background for your work, if you want to change the color of your background, that would do so. Okay, you can also do that. Okay, if you want to record, if you don't want to draw, you can record your voice to answer the question. Okay, so once you're done, you can submit your work and you can also put it and organize it in folders. Okay, that's it. So once you submit your work, it will automatically go to the journal. Now let's assign activities. This is my activity library. I was able to collect a lot of activities here. So let's choose the human body. Okay, let's assign it to my class. Alright. So the good thing about Seesaw is your students can already add response. The good thing about this, you can embed videos, okay, and do drag and drop activities in your canvas there. Okay. Also, students would enjoy doing the connecting activity by using the different tool. You can use the pencil tool, the pen tool. Some wants to use the glow pen. And there. Okay, then you can already click submit to submit your work, and it will automatically go to your journal. Okay, that's it. That's the interface of Seesaw. So again, learning from home can be difficult, but it's definitely achievable. Remote learning helps reinforce lifelong skills such as time and energy management, independence, and creative thinking. Again, thank you very much. Again, this is Miss Cherry. I hope you learned something for today. Thank you and have a good day.